I'm in a new background. I needed some space around me in my external environment before I could really come up and share again. Sometimes life can feel distracting and it takes my attention away from this aspect of my life, which is to share and communicate and exchange ideas, exchange beliefs, exchange words, which is one of my favorite ways to express myself and to live out my, I think, dharma, I would say duty. It just feels right. The more I do it, the more I can analyze my life and my experiences. It results to wanting to share it and share my experience. That Gemini and Sagittarius combo. And this is, I just wanted to, I don't know if maybe I will one day get to a point where my videos are more consistent, but I like when it's at a time when I'm like, okay, I can do it right now. I feel like it's right. And so there's no force, it's just when I have the words to talk. Or when I have the words, when it just feels like the appropriate time for me to share. And I think the more I can just settle into who I am, then my personality flows naturally. The difference from now and then, a few years ago, I was still focused on emphasizing myself in a certain way so that my words can be validated, my beliefs can be validated if I portray myself a certain way. And now I see the value of just who I am more than I did before. I see the value of my individuality than I did before. And I hope that in this way, myself can be portrayed in an authentic way. I think we sometimes may not know if we're ever tweaking a certain behavior, even our movements, our countenance, all these aspects of ourselves. I just want it to be who I am to myself in front of the camera. I want the conversations I'm having with you, the dialogue, the discussion I'm having with you, I want to behave the same way when I have these discussions with myself. And I analyze my behavior, my patterns. So I am trying to practice more of this flow in my personality. Sometimes we do that in public too, which is what this conversation is about, is how can we observe ourselves in public in order to discover more parts of ourselves. I've been reflecting a lot on who I am in public, how I perceive myself in public. I wonder how many of us are actually wanting to indulge in what we do when we're out to these clubs, to the bars, I'm thinking more of nightlife scene, but how many of us actually enjoy it wholeheartedly? I find enjoyment in witnessing people enjoy themselves, to let loose, to be with their friends, I like seeing a good time for people. And that's one of my favorite parts of being in the scene, is just witnessing other people enjoy themselves, but am I enjoying myself? And that's what I've been reflecting on the last few weeks, as I have been, as my values and what's important to me and my needs have been more clear, the more I can settle with who I am. And what I mean by that is when I have acceptance with how I operate in this life and not grasp at different ways of being, different ways of operating in order to make my life a certain way, to make my life a movie. Like, and I'll get to that. There's a lot I want to get to. But first I wanted to kind of bring up some questions that you can ask yourself in order to discover more of yourself in public, because sometimes I think all this stimulation, all the extra noise on the outside can block us from seeing who we truly are on the inside. We don't have a moment to be introspective. And then I think sometimes there's just quietness and emptiness in the in-between moments, because we're talking to this person, the music is playing. Like, how could we make space even before the event, before wherever you go, to sit down with yourself, to write, to ask yourself what kind of space you want to enter, and does this space fulfill your needs? So I think I want to just make space for introspection for all of us in order to act in more alignment in public. So here are some inquiries. That's my objective, my intention with this video. The first is, when did I, and this is like after the event, you can ask yourself, after whatever you ended up doing, you go home, whatever. When did I feel uncomfortable? So this is to observe, kind of reflect on, were there moments that I felt uncomfortable? And what moments were they? Then you want to also ask, what signs reveal uncomfortability for me? For me, so I will say this as an example. I can have my heart beating a little bit more, my muscles are tensed, I constrain my communication. So sometimes my communication there'll be gaps between my words. There'll be a level of hesitation, a level of constraint. I can't really talk with fluidity. There's like a tiptoeing almost around what words I use. A level of naturally owning what I say, naturally standing on my words. Almost nervous or hesitant to say what I say or how I say it. There's no like level of leadership in my words. You want to be a leader to your words. You want to be a warrior to your communication. Like, to be like, this is what I believe, or this is what I want to ask you. This is what I want to tell you about myself. This is how I really feel, like about this event, about what's going on right now, about how I feel, without really giving yourself obligation to really say in details, but to just show up honestly. And to show up honestly is to own and have power over your words, to feel empowered with your communication and not disempowered. And then also hesitation of my movement of my body. So I may not let loose when I'm on the dance floor as much. Not like I was on the dance floor. I was on a rooftop party. And I did dance, but there was moments I felt uncomfortable because I don't like standing too long. I need comfort, and that's one of my needs that is more important than I realized this spring season. I need to feel comfortable, and so it's not my favorite thing to like go out in that way. I need to I can share a little bit more of what I prefer, and that could be just later in this video. But I feel uncomfortable just by standing, and so for a long period of time. So then the hesitation of my body reveals itself because I'm not comfortable anymore. And then it's just like when you talk to somebody, like, how are you standing? Are your shoulders relaxed? Are your arms relaxed? Is your jaw relaxed when you talk? Are you kind of like looking, are your eyes kind of not making eye contact? Are you kind of glancing in other directions when you talk to them? Because the thing is, for me, I also don't like loud music. So I don't like to talk loud. So if there's loud music, I'm just not gonna talk. If I am, then it's gonna be out of necessity, and I'll just wait to have a conversation after, which I don't like either. I like to have dialogue when I meet people, when I want to engage with people. So that's another reason why maybe the club scene, or I like a certain outing, and I'll just share again later what my preferences are. But I'm just saying this as more context as to why, for me personally, I could feel more uncomfortable. It's because maybe the loud music and stuff like that. So yeah, just those kind of signs in your body and your face can reveal how you're just maybe not as comfortable. And then another question you can ask is, what signs entail comfortability? So the opposite. So, or maybe your shoulders are relaxed instead of tensed. Maybe your jaw is relaxed. Maybe you can talk fluid. It's almost like the opposite. Maybe you can make eye contact. There's like a flow to it that maybe wasn't there before when you were uncomfortable. You'll see the signs. Everything just comes easier from you, out of you. I think even I was having a conversation with a dear connection of mine, and it's just, I didn't feel nervous. I was just like, and also part of it is because I can be my goofy self with this person. She has this aura, this energy about her. She's just so accepting of who I am, and I felt that early on. She's accepting of how I am, even though we've had only so many encounters, but it's just like, oh, I can just, kind of goof around, which I like. It's just, how someone can just understand you in that way. Like, oh yeah, like, there's no, or they can meet you at that level too, which is so like comforting when someone can meet you at your goofy level. It's like, or if they don't, like, sometimes people's energy is not as like, whoa, because I'm like that way too. But if they can just love you in a way for who you are, like, I can feel into that. When someone just like, if I'm goofy and they'll just welcome it and smile and like laugh and that's a sign from, as to me, that's a sign that they accept it. There's no blockage, no awkwardness. Oh, like, look, like, you know, haha, kind of like they just find entertainment in who I am and my communication. I like entertaining people with my communication, like, and I like to be engaged in that way. That's how I'm engaged. I'll mention that later. Sorry, kind of go like, but I need my conversation to be entertaining, and entertainment doesn't mean loud and boastful and all this stimulation. No, entertainment can be engaging, introspective questions. Like, I like that. That's engaging to me. That's entertainment to me. Not just the goofy entertainment, but like, let's uncover a little bit. Let me ask you some questions about yourself, kind of thing. I love that. I love doing that to people too. I love doing that to people. I'm just like, I'll share, and then I'm like, wait, how do you show up in this way? How do you navigate that certain thing? I'm just like, oh, this is fun. This is like my type of like, even like think about it, I'm like, yeah, I like doing that. And the more I can reflect on myself, I can have those same questions. I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna ask this person that after like I start writing, journaling about something or reflecting on something, and then I'm like, wait a minute, I kind of want to ask that person that same question. Yes, and there's also genuine countenance. Like, there's no, it's just more natural. There's no underlying hesitation. I think we kind of could know when we're not relaxed. I think we kind of can know that. And we're kind of like, is this, sometimes, a lot of times I'm reserved and I just don't talk to people, and I'm okay with that. And the only time I can talk to somebody, I'm not really shy, but it's like, I can do cashiers, I can do one-on-one quick conversations, quick dialogue. If I'm like, oh, this person is cool, like, let me just ask what their name is. Like, this person, if I can, I can do one-on-one dialogue for a moment, because there's no like commitment to it. There's no obligation, responsibility to continue the conversation. When public, genuinely, I'm not gonna go up to somebody unless I actually want to engage in conversation with somebody, which doesn't happen often. And then you can also ask what your favorite aspects of the day, of the night. What were your favorite parts of it? What did you like most? You could say I think somebody could say the music, but of course, like, people could say that. If it's a certain genre of music you like, of course you're gonna like it. But besides like what the party event was for, like, it's because maybe that's why you went to the first, like, if they're playing funk, soul music, hip-hop, you're like, okay, I'm going for this reason. And that's already revealing that part of yourself that likes that kind of genre. But how did you behave that maybe you liked about that night, that day? Did you go up to somebody and have the conversation? Did you like that part of, what parts of yourself revealed itself that you didn't already know? What parts revealed itself that you didn't know about before, that you were like, I like that part of me that revealed itself? Or like, for me, I like to feel comfortable. So I'm like, I like that I can sit down in this place and just take in all this energy without obligation. I like going at my pace. For me, I like interior design. I like when something, a place looks aesthetic, a place looks beautiful, opulent. Um, I like a good decor. I like a good, I like that a lot. I like being in beautiful places. And so that's something that can be built up for you as well. Or just what parts of the night do you like going slow? Do you like, maybe do you like just a smaller group of people with you, 2 or 3? So it's looking outside of just what the event was for, more of just the process, what the in between, looking at the in between of details of what happened in between moments that you maybe liked. Do you like that there was more space that you can move around? It wasn't like crowded. So looking at the details of the event, at just the journey of it, the journey of the whole night, the day. I hope I'm kind of getting I hope it's comprehensible. And then you can also ask, what parts of the day felt truthful to my values, and how did I honor what's most important to me? This is where I'll get to what I've been referring to before about my comfortability, because that's so important to me. And this is, again, to inspire you to see what's valuable to you. So I'll just say comfortability is so important. I need to feel comfortable. I need to feel able to just, after I move my body, I just need to sit down. I need to sit down. I will do like a cocktail, like 1 or 2. Sweet. I can't do hard anything. Can't do hard liquor, nothing like that. But not all the time I drink. It's just more of just 1 or 2 cocktails. And then I like, valuable to me is a beautiful place. I like a good lighting. I like a good, just good lighting. I love that. I love artwork on walls. I'm just thinking about just how how I just love my senses activated. Like, my senses being activated in taste. If it's good food, if it tastes good, the food, if they have food that tastes good. And restaurants too, this goes for restaurants. If the place has beautiful artwork, if it's not like a capitalistic restaurant, if they're not so focused on pleasing people, pleasing society, if it's more family oriented. This is restaurants now instead of like clubs or venues. But restaurants, if they have a family oriented value atmosphere where it's like, just stay in the family for a while, like, we don't need the fanciest things, we can just, because that doesn't always entail good food, like, so I just love an intimate restaurant. I'm not gonna go to, I don't know, even coffee shop. I like just a family oriented atmosphere. So I think that kind of, it's more of an energetic feel for me, but still beautiful artwork. If it has the interior design, if the colors are merging into one another and it flows. And then also, so that's sight for me, sight and the taste, if it's really good food. And I like when venues also have food as well. Taste, sight, smell. If it smells good, it's not always gonna smell good, because you just maybe the smell goes away. I don't know. It's just not every place will like smell really good. But I've been to coffee shops where they'll have like Palo Santo burning, or they'll have sage. I'm like, that's now we're talking. So now we're talking. But yeah, if it's just, that's a bonus, not necessity, but bonus. And then touch, I need to feel comfortable. I need to feel like I can sit in a comfortable chair. And if it doesn't. I think sight and taste is my favorite senses to be activated. And then hear, I like to hear quiet or subtle music. I don't need please don't blast the music. Please don't, restaurants, venues, don't blast music. I like subtle. Or it's just a medium, not just not loud, so I have to yell at the person talking to in front of me. So that's important. Hear, taste, and sight are my favorite senses to be activated. Touch and smell are like bonuses. So that's invaluable to me. So I need, like, if I go to a place, I need my senses, my top 3 senses to be activated, preferably. And I can be able to have communication to be activated as well. That's my other need of mine, because I like dialogue. I like to have access to dialogue with people. I feel like an exchange of ideas, an exchange of beliefs, like just asking each other that questions about themselves to kind of know themselves more. I need to have access to that, please. So I find that to be meaningful to me. So this question is to reveal what's important to you when you go out. And then if, it requires some level of knowing of what's important to you, of course, but maybe observe how you act and behave on a day-to-day basis. What do you end up finding yourself doing, or how do you find satisfaction on your days throughout the week? Where do you find satisfaction in your day, and in what ways? I found that when I realized I need slowness, or I need to go, I'm at pace in life, and that's such an important need. And of course that could be altered depending on who you're with. I can't always go at my own pace when I'm with people, but there can be a level of coming together, and in that, like, there can be a level of, when I say coming together, it could also be seen as compromise, but it's more of just coming together, merging with who you are with another person's behavior, just merging together with the two. But even walking slow in nature, I realized that's how I activated my knowing of my need of going at a pace. So there's other ways we can discover ourselves and discover how we operate and how we want to operate. So let's just look at, what do you already do on a day-to-day basis or on a weekly basis? How do you usually behave? And then how can you take that way of behaving to other spaces that you enter? So that way you're not really taking away from who you really are, but you're just taking already who you are to different spaces. So you're never like taking parts of yourself away. I think when I sometimes go to these venues, and I really I look forward to them. I look forward to hearing music and just checking out a new space. I really like checking out I like newness. That's also a need of mine. So when I go to these venues, I actually don't mind. Like I prefer to go to a new venue because it's new to me, but to never like take away from who I am. If I need comfort, I need to access that. I need to be able to sit down, or just not at least feel obligated to dance or to move my body. If I need a beautiful place, I'll go to a beautiful venue. And like I'm not gonna go to just have less interest, I guess, in a venue that doesn't have good lighting or something. I don't know. But if I need to have dialogue, maybe I won't go to a place that's like blasting music. I'll go to a place that the music is more subtle. more, maybe a volume at a medium. And if I need to, if I want to have good food, I'll go to a place that I'm familiar with the menu, with what's on the menu, and look at the reviews and ratings. So it's like meeting yourself, entering into spaces that can fulfill your needs is so important. And in order to do so, realize how you operate on a day-to-day basis, how you behave, how you operate, and then seeing if certain spaces can fulfill who you are or what your needs are. So I think I also want to actually touch base on like not grasping on other, or this is another thing, not grasping on false identities. Growing up, when you watch movies, I'm sure we've watched movies where like the characters are always like extroverted. Like we all have extrovert, introvert. I'm not gonna be like, oh, I'm more this, more that. It's just ridiculous to me. Like, come on, like, So a healthy way of living is like to be having that balance of both. I think balance is like the number one thing in every aspect of life, of how you operate. Like sometimes it's never like too much of anything they say is like never good, and it's like it's just another way of saying like to have balance with life, and so besides the point, what was I saying? So yeah, because growing up you kind of do see those characters that are out with a big group of friends. If they don't have a group of friends, they have like at least 2 or 3, which is like more than a lot of us. Like, come on, not everyone has 2 or 3 friends. Like, I kind of do, but not really. I mean, I do and I don't at the same time. Like, to see on a consistent basis, no, I don't. There's not even one person I see like consistently. I count consistently for me as like twice a week, maybe. But I do want to get there, and I just want to make space for those people who don't have 2 or 3 friends. Like, put your hands up if you don't, 2 hands if you don't, 3 hands. Anyway, but there's always like that level of like success that they have, or like people inviting them to places, like just a certain lifestyle where we strive for, and it's like maybe that's not part of our path. I personally believe that everything that's yet to happen has already happened. It's already written in the stars. It's already paved, God and Spirit's already paved the way for what's to come. And so sometimes what we have in our minds of who we should be and who we are, or who we should be is sometimes different from who we are internally, our core self. This is something I've been reflecting on as well, because I'm like, I'm not gonna be this person that had like 20 friends, 10 friends even. And I say like, the way I see it is I was grasping at like a certain lifestyle, like, oh, all these people are gonna like pull me in so many directions, and I don't want that actually. Because I like to go at a slow pace, and I feel like in order to do that, I want to just choose wisely on what I sign up for in this life and who I bring into this life. I don't interact with that many people in the public at all. So it's that way of operating that feels right to me is not really aligning to that image I was placing to myself for a while. Like, sometimes who we internally are is just different from that imagination that actually sometimes comes from expectations of ourselves. False expectations that in the past, maybe as a child, we started to bring upon this play in our minds, and it's not really who we are, but it's just what we've seen from society of the right way to live. So our imagination of ourselves sometimes is an illusion. Sometimes we're self-deceiving. If you got a Pisces placement, like I do, there's gonna be some level of self-deception. I'm just gonna say, I'm gonna keep it a buck. I just like to be like, I just like to say things. I feel like that sometimes. I'm just yapping. But yeah, it's like if the way you are, like, authentically not equaling that version of you in your head, then it's just like, are you gonna keep grasping at, like, oh, I have to have this way? Because if it is, it's gonna be conflict between who you really are and how you really operate versus what you're putting in your head as you should be operating or lifestyle should be, because it's just never gonna align. So it's almost making peace with the trajectory of your life based on who you are. And of course, you could say like, yeah, you could change, but always, if you stick to how you truly operate in this life, then it's gonna mirror your external world. And so I may not have like that like busyness of people, because I don't know if I want that. And I realized, it just became clear to me that I was still placing, because I've had these conversations with myself for like, with friendships. I've had conversations about friendships with myself, about connections, but then this illusion I felt like was still being placed upon me, that I was still having this imagination based on illusion. I was still doing that recently. I was like, oh wait, that illusion is conjuring up in my mind again. Oh wait, is this really like what I want to sign up for? It's a sort of responsibility that I'm not signing up for. So choosing your responsibilities based on who you are. And that's why this video really came together the way it did, because I wanted to encourage people to align what they do on the outside based on who they are in the inside. Like, I just want to tend to the hearts of people that hold my heart tenderly. And if I don't really know somebody like that on the outside, if they're strangers, sometimes it's just someone you haven't had a chance to love yet. I don't think there's like that much separation between me and another person I don't personally know. But if there isn't a level of personal connection and bond with them, then I'll leave them to have the connections that are meant for them, and I'll just tend to the people that are around me. Anyone who comes to my life, like, hopefully we can grow into that connection, but and then I'll just do that. I'll just continue to have people come and go, and there's not much control I have for people who can stay in my life. If they move away, if they leave their body, like, I just want to be appreciative of just people I get to meet in this life. So yeah, just a lot of reflecting on who I really am in this life, in my body. It's just not easy sometimes being a Pisces as a ascendant, because I'll leave it with like a conversation real quick on Aries, because I think a lot of individuality of the self is coming up for me with all these planets going to Aries. I'm like, oh yeah, I feel that. Finally, Neptune leaving Pisces for at least temporarily this year. I'm like, oh, at least like, we get a break. We get a break. Hallelujah. 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 I like how I saw like gospel playing on these venues like in Brooklyn. So funny to me. Like, okay, we're going Jesus. We chanting to Jesus tonight. I see. We chanting to Jesus tonight. I just like how I'm like, oh, like I can just honor who I am more than I could before a few years ago. And I just like that part of growing up. I think is just like settling into who you are. Like recently I've been reading a lot, and I feel like parts of me have been more permanent, and I really relish in that way of operating, instead of just opening the window and sticking my head out when I do something that feels aligned with me, and then usually I'll close that window down again. But this time I'm opening this whole door of the patio of who I am, and I'm leaving it. I'm going into the patio, and I'm sitting down, I'm getting comfortable, and that just reveals the part of me that's settling into who I am, and just staying there instead of closing my window again and just like, oh, I gotta be this way. Or if I don't engage with people, sometimes I don't talk to people at all, but they may be talking to my partner, and then I feel like responsible for how they feel based on how I'm acting, but I'm not responsible for their emotions. So it's another example of just accepting who I am without placing responsibility on other people's emotions. So I'm just continually observing myself and seeing, okay, let me stick to who I am without tweaking it, adjusting it any type of way. There's a bird right there. So yeah, let's just let's just be ourselves. Let's be ourselves. Let's just be like who we are. Just like chill. Just chilling with who we are.